You are probably sitting down right now. Maybe you're slouched over a phone or hunched over a keyboard. Your lower back probably aches. Your eyes are tired. You feel a constant, low-level buzz of anxiety about the future. You think this is normal. You think this is just what being a human feels like. But it's not. For 300,000 years of human history, your ancestors didn't have chronic back pain. They didn't have anxiety about the economy. Because for 95% of our existence on this planet, we were doing exactly what we were built to do. We moved. Before cities, before borders, before the concept of a job, humans were hunter-gatherers. We imagine early humans as desperate, starving cavemen fighting for survival every single day. But archaeologists call this a myth. In reality, ancient hunter-gatherers likely only worked about 3 to 4 hours a day. They would hunt an animal, gather some wild plants, and then they just hung out. They told stories. They slept. They had incredibly diverse diets, eating dozens of different plants and animals. Their bones were dense. Their teeth were nearly perfect. They were the apex biological version of humanity. But then, about 12,000 years ago, everything changed. We made the biggest mistake in the history of our species. We planted a seed. We realized that instead of walking for miles to find food, we could just stay in one place and make the food grow exactly where we wanted it. It seemed like a miracle. It was the agricultural revolution. We thought we had conquered nature. But we didn't domesticate wheat. Wheat domesticated us. Think about it. Wheat demands to be planted in a very specific way. It demands to be watered. It demands that you pull the weeds around it. It demands that you build a fence to keep animals away. Suddenly, humans weren't moving anymore. We were stuck. Our bodies, forged by hundreds of thousands of years of running and walking, were suddenly forced to bend over fields for 10 hours a day. Fossil records show a massive change right when agriculture started. Human skeletons suddenly show slipped discs, arthritis, and hernias. And because we were relying on only 1 or 2 crops to survive, our diverse diet vanished. We became malnourished. The average height of humans actually dropped by several inches when we became farmers. We shrank. But that wasn't the worst part. Because we were staying in one place, we started living in dense, crowded settlements. We surrounded ourselves with domesticated animals, pigs, cows, chickens. And those animals had diseases. Smallpox, measles, tuberculosis. These are all diseases that jumped from farm animals to humans because we decided to live right next to them in our own filth. Before agriculture, epidemics were mathematically impossible. A tribe of 50 people who get sick either recover or die, and the virus has nowhere else to go. But in a city of thousands, a virus can burn forever. Then came the final trap. Because food could now be stockpiled, someone had to guard it, and someone had to control it. For the first time in human history, equality vanished. Society was split into the people who owned the food and the peasants who had to work for it. Elites, kings, taxes, and war. It was all invented because we stopped moving. So why did we do it? Why didn't we just go back to the woods? Because farming created a massive population explosion. You can't feed a city of 10,000 people by picking berries. It was a one-way street. We traded the health and freedom of the individual for the sheer numerical survival of the species. And that is exactly where you are sitting today. At the very end of a 12,000-year-old trap, A modern brain inside a primitive body, wondering why your back hurts, in a world you built, but were never meant to live in.